Hello, so I wanted to do a video on direct proportion. So I've got another question generator which I shall talk you through shortly, but just to get started, this can be quite a confusing topic. The key areas that you need to be aware of are substitution and rearranging formula. That's especially for the kind of latter examples that I'm going to do. Okay, so before we get into the examples, I just want to quickly recap what direct proportion is. So I've made two graphs here. Neither of them, the costs of them aren't necessarily particularly accurate. The first one demonstrates the relationship between pounds and euros. So I've made up an exchange rate, like I say, not completely accurate. The first one, between pounds and euros, is in proportion. The reason being is that if I take an example for pounds and we use my graph to figure out that that is €6, £4 equals €6. If I double one quantity, so now let's look at 8, and that's going to give me €12. So £8 equals €12. If I double one quantity, so I've doubled 4 to get 8 in pounds, then the other thing also doubles. So €6 doubles to €12. So that is an example of something that is in proportion. If I was to triple this and find £12, then I'd have to triple the €6 to get 18 as well. So they're in proportion. The second example, the cost of a taxi journey. If I do the same thing here, let's take 4. So £4 miles in this case would give me, if I go across here, £6.50. And then if I double that 8, and then find out the cost of that, that gives me £11. 8 miles equals £11. So even though I've doubled this one, that has not been doubled. So those two things are not in what we call direct proportion to each other. The pounds and euros exchange rate is, but the cost of a taxi journey isn't. So the key thing there is that in order for them to be in direct proportion, it must go through the origin, the point 0, 0. If the graph is a straight line but doesn't go through the origin, they are not in direct proportion with each other. Okay, so let's go to 4 examples. Now the wording of these can sometimes catch people out. E varies directly with F means that E is directly proportional to F. Now the way we write that in maths is E and then a symbol that looks like this, a little fish. E is directly proportional to F. And then we are told that when E equals 60, F equals 5. And the first thing is asking us, first part of the question is asking us to find an equation that links E and F. Now, to turn this into an equation, this needs to become an equal sign. But when we do that, we need to find what's called the constant of proportionality. Now, we represent that with a K. You don't need to remember what it's called, but this is the constant of proportionality. Okay, so when we change it into an equation, we need to introduce that K, and it's K multiplied by F. We are now going to use, that constant doesn't change, no matter what the values for E and F are, that remains the same. So we are going to use the two values that we have been given in the question to work out what that is. So when E equals 60, so I can write that in, we still don't know what K is, that's what we're trying to find, multiplied by F, in this case F was 5. So that means that 60 has to be 5k. So to find out what k is, I need to divide both sides of that equation by 5. So 60 divided by 5, divide that side by 5, I get 12 equal k. Now remember, that is a constant, it does not change. So using that, we can now give our equation, our answer to part A, the equation linking E and F is E equals 12, where that 12 is just a constant of proportionality. That's more often than not, that's going to be the first part of those questions. Part B, all we're then going to do is use that equation, so I'm going to write it out again, to find E when F is 2. Now be really careful, because in a minute you might get confused if you don't take care with this bit. So when F equals 2, so it's this bit, the F bit, that's going to equal 2. So E is equal to 12 multiplied by whatever F is. Well, we're told in the question in part B that that has to be 2. Therefore E equals 12 times 2, or 24. That's the first example done. Second example, again, E varies directly with F, so E is directly proportional to F, and we want to find an equation, so we can turn that sign into an equals, and K times F. The first part A, is actually very similar to what we've just done. So when E equals 24, F equals 6, therefore 6k is equal to 24. Dividing both sides by 6 gives you k equals 4. So my equation, my answer to part A, is E equals 4f. Okay, now in the last example, I said take particular care with this bit here, because this one, a lot of people just see that value as 4, and they do 4. They instead of putting that in for E, they'd put that in for F, so they just do 4 times 4. Take care here, E equals 4, so instead of E, we're going to use 4. That is equal to 4 lots of F. So now dividing both sides, or you could write 4f equals the other way around. Dividing both sides of that equation by 4, divide that by 4, divide that by 4, f would give me 1. And that's our answer for that first bit there. Sorry, that second bit. Okay, let's go on to 2 more examples. Again, the first part of this part A is going to be quite similar. So I is directly proportional to J. So I is equal to our constant proportionality multiplied by J, using the values we've been given. Careful here, I is 5, times J, which is 40. So 5 is equal to 40k. So to find out what k is, it's not 40 divided by 5. It's if we divide both sides of this equation by 40, I'm going to get 5 over 40 is k. Now, that doesn't look particularly nice, but what you can do is you can simplify this fraction. Both of those numbers are in the 5 times table, so k is actually equal to 1/8. Don't just see the 40 and the 5 and just assume you're always going to be doing the bigger number divided by the smaller number. So my equation for part A is going to be I equals 1/8 of J. That could also be written as I equals J over 8, because multiplying by 1/8 is the same as dividing by 8. Okay, so you can use either of these for part B. So part B, find the value of I when J equals 56. So using our equation, I'll use the second version of it, where J is 56. So all I'm going to do here is instead of J, I'm going to use the value 56. And then remember, division has not yet been completed. So we're just doing 56 divided by 8. So 56 divided by 8 is going to give me 7. So when j is 56, I is 7. Right, last example. Again, first part exactly the same. E is directly proportional to f, so E is equal to k multiplied by f. And then we're just going to use the values we've been given. So 8 is equal to k times 56. And then, 8 equals 56k. Dividing both sides by 56 gives you that. Then we can just check to see if it simplifies. So 8, just like last time, does go into 56. 8 and 56 are both in the 8 times table. So this one here, if I divide top and bottom, I get that 1/7 is equal to k. So E is equal to 1/7 of, so you can use times of f, or E is equal to f over 7. Once you have that, part B, we're just going to use this equation. Again, take particular care, it's given us the value for E, not the value for f. So instead of E, I'm now going to use 2 is equal to f divided by 7. Now what a lot of students do here is they just try and do 2 divided by 7. Remember, I want to have f equals, or something equals f. So the thing that is stopping me from just having f is that I have divided f by 7. So to undo that, we need to do the inverse of divided. So I'm going to times both sides by 7. So 14 is equal to f, or f is equal to 14. I find that completely acceptable. Okay, 4 examples. I do have to start another question generator. I have only gone through the linear examples. You can make these more difficult by including squared, cubed, and square roots as well. It's at the minute it's set to increasing difficulty, but you can get all of one particular type. So the first type of example, or the second or the third. And once you've done all of those, you can do a mix of all the questions, and that's good practice because it really practices all the kind of skills from this topic. When you open this file, you will need to click Enable Content or Enable Macros, and that appears in a yellow ribbon at the top when you open the file. I'll stick a link to that file in the description as well, so you can download it and get some practice. That's it. Thanks very much for watching. I hope it's useful. Bye-bye.